Hi, welcome back to another episode of Three Guys One Mic. I'm Aaron, joined by my two co-hosts,
Jeremiah,
William.
and today we're going to talk about the NBA All-Stars and who we thought, if we agreed on who made it or who didn't make it, who didn't deserve to be there.
Yeah.
And then we're going to talk about the Nets and Lakers. You know, some say it's a finals matchup in the future.
historical game.
Except KD and AD were out, and Kyrie and Harden went against LeBron and Trez and all the Lakers bench. Stacked team, you know.
Yeah.
Both ways, they have depth. So I'm just gonna go ahead and say, start off with Willie here. What do you thought about the All-Stars? We'll start off with the All-Stars and then we'll lead into the game.
Well, can you list off the starters for the West?
The West have Stephen Curry, who's in the MVP race as we speak. They have Luka, the shooting guard, who some will debate that Dame should be there. And then they have Kawhi Leonard, who some will also say will debate that is there because, you know, he hasn't
I haven't
played.
really many people debate about Kawhi being a starter, but okay.
He hasn't played a lot of games this year.
Okay.
You have LeBron at the 4, who's another top spot, in my opinion, for the MVP. And then you have Jokic at the 5, who's a very close second MVP.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm fine with those starters. Anywhere you go, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with Luka starting. But my thing is, I think that Dame should have been starting over Luka.
So you're fine with it?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm not mad at it. I just think that if it was me, if I had the final say, I would put Dame over Luka. And Luka's averaging 29, 8, and 9, okay? But his team has a losing record. Dame is averaging 30 points a game, 4 rebounds, and 7 assists. And Dame currently has his team on a 6-game win streak and 4th in the West. He elevated his game once the team around him got hurt. We know that CJ McCollum was having a great year. Even though it was a short amount of games, he was averaging 26, 4, and 5, which is amazing, especially for someone like him. Nurkic has been hurt, Zach Collins has been hurt, and Dame has pretty much been doing it alone, and he's been performing in the clutch. So that's why I would put Luka above him. And also with the media votes
Dame above.
Dame above, with the media votes and with the player votes, Dame won 131 to 58, and the media votes 64 to 30. So the people who get paid, the people who know what they're talking about, the people who make this their profession, voted Dame. But the fans, which I think Luka won, even though I like Luka, I'm not gonna slander him or anything. I think Luka won because of the fans. He's just the bigger brand. He's a bigger name.
He's more popular.
Yeah, so they just voted Luka as the starter.
Yeah.
So yeah, if it was up to me, I would put Dame as a starter. So yeah.
Dame as a starter.
Yeah. One thing too, Will, like you said, like the popularity vote, right? As I like to call it. Like with Luka, right? We all know like the double bang he hit, right, in the bubble, right? So I feel like all the fans, because everybody was watching the bubble games, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's still in the back of their heads, like just thinking about that Luka performance.
That's what I was gonna say too.
Yeah.
And like the way that Dame performed, I feel like fans, they kept all that stuff in the back of their head.
Yeah, of course.
Dame lost. He won the first one, lost 4 in a row, and then Luka by himself was giving the Clippers a fight.
Yeah.
So I feel like that played a big part.
Like they remembered that, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But as far as like big names, I still think Dame has like the bigger like brand, in my opinion, because like everybody sees him as like a Steph Curry, like a part 2 of Steph Curry and stuff like that.
Obviously not, because 2.3 million voted for
like logo. He pulls up from the logo. I mean, he's always that guy.
Yeah. But then like with Luka, I just feel like it was like with the fan votes, it was just all the young people, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I feel like he just takes a toll on a lot of young players because he came in the league at what 18, 19.
And
he's still like he's dominating at 20
for the longest too. Yeah.
When you look at Luka, he's the person that you could say he's the face of the NBA. You can't really say the same with Dame. So obviously, like how we're all saying that it's a popularity vote, and a lot of people were just they were gravitating more to Luka because he's more of a household name than Dame is when it comes to just people who don't really know basketball like that.
I get you.
So yeah, that's the only thing I really like had on my mind that I didn't like about the starters. But Luka still deserved it. He's still having a great year. And can you name off the East starters?
Oh my, do you have anything to say about
No,
the West?
well, I mean, I'm a big Luka fan. You mean, so obviously I wouldn't change it. But then I don't know. Well, you kind of hit on all the keynotes here.
Yeah,
for
as
sure.
always do. Yeah. Can you go on the East?
The East, we have Kyrie, who's playing phenomenal. Bradley Beal, another MVP guy. He's in the ladder. KD, MVP ladder also. Probably third, maybe. Because of his record and the team he plays for. And then you have Giannis at the 4, who his team's in a bit of a slump. They're going downhill. I believe it's like 6
5 in a row.
5 in a row they've lost.
And then Embiid.
Some of them were to pretty bad teams. And then 5 is Embiid, who's also in the MVP ladder.
Yeah.
So do you guys have any disagreement?
Not everybody's up for the MVP, Lil Man. Damn, you gotta.
Well, I mean, those are all the guys that everybody has.
I would say I don't have a problem with the East as much as I do with the West, and simply because, like, me and Lima were arguing about the Dame versus Luka thing, and then he was also saying, so if records come into play, then Bradley Beal shouldn't be starting. But in my opinion, I don't see anyone who deserves that spot more than Bradley Beal. So that's really the only reason why I'm not debating that. And with Kyrie's played only 20 games this year, I think somewhere around there. And Jaylen Brown. Maya's not really big on Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown, to the media and the players, was second in voting. So he was going to be a starter. But the fans, who don't really know much about Jaylen Brown, obviously Kyrie's the bigger name, the bigger brand. So Kyrie got the start over him. So, but other than that, I don't really mind, I don't really mind anyone that wasn't starting at the East. So
you think they're all perfect, like they should say?
I don't think it's perfect, but I think I don't have as much of a problem as they did with the West.
So you started Jaylen Brown? You think he's a...
No, I would still start Kyrie, because I think Kyrie's the better player, but I think Jaylen Brown deserved it because of what he's doing, but I'm fine with it. I don't care if he's not starting, because either way he's going to get an all-star nod.
I feel like the only person that could probably replace Kyrie would only be like Trae Young. Maybe Ben Simmons, but then again, he's like... he doesn't really put up all. He's more
of a defensive player.
He doesn't flash it like that.
Trae Young would have been nice. It would have been nice to see Trae Young.
I think he's gonna get.
Because Trae Young does a lot.
Yeah, he'll probably for sure be a reserve.
Yeah, for sure.
So are we good on the?
Well, how do you guys feel about the voting formats with the All-Star game? Because it's 50% fans, 25% media, 25% players.
Yeah, it should be 50% players, 25 media, 25 fans.
That's honestly how I feel. Like if you're in that field, if you're playing against these guys every day, obviously the players voted for Jaylen Brown because they played against him.
Exactly.
So they're gonna know. They say he deserves it, but the fans. I mean, it's not. You're just leaving this open to the public. Anyone could vote. Anyone who doesn't know anything about basketball. Anyone could just vote. So.
Exactly. And one thing, Willie, that's I think you're hitting it really good, Will, is the NFL Top 100, right?
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, the NFL Top 100, they release it every year, and it's specifically done by players. They sit down with the players, they give them a 1 to 100, and they fill out all their players. And it's a giant survey, but it's players only. Yeah. And it's that NFL Top 100, I think the NBA should take after that. You know what I mean? It should be players who it's voted by players. You know what I mean? That's who knows the game the best.
Maybe even take out the fans and put it 50-50
the fans still have to be a part of it. But
they can just go to the game.
You remember for offensive rookie of the year, right? Taco Fall was in the run. You mean they were just voting Taco Fall?
Yeah, they were just voting people. Caruso this year. Yeah. Clay also was top 10 this year. Clay hasn't played.
He didn't play a single game.
And how you said about the top 100 with the NFL.
Yeah.
If it was left up to completely to the fans, no D tackles would be voted in. Offensive linemen would be voted in. It's just So I think you need to give the players. The players in the media more of the votes than you do the fans.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Hopefully they touch on that in the future.
Yeah.
But no other stuff for the All-Stars?
No.
You guys think they're good?
Yeah, I think
not perfect, but they're solid.
And the reserves are coming in next week, right?
Reserves are coming in next week. Yeah, we haven't even got there yet. All right. So let's move on to the game. Potentially a finals matchup. It's obviously going to be a better game when everyone's healthy, hopefully.
Yeah. Sure.
We pray that no one else gets hurt from the two teams. The Nets and Lakers, where the Nets beat them 109-98.
Yeah.
But I will say it wasn't it was kind of like a garbage time, I would say, for the Lakers, because they were getting, it was bad. I wasn't even able to watch it, but I was checking the score and I looked at the box score and I could just tell it was an off game for everybody. They only had 3 players in double digits. LeBron had 32, Trez had 10, and Kuz had 16.
Yeah.
But he started off hot. He had 8 in the first, I think, 2 to 3 minutes, and then from there it just went. It went downhill. They didn't have anybody to rely on because Schroeder got out. He was in the, what's it called? The protocol?
Oh, he was?
Yeah, he was taken out because of the protocol.
Okay.
Because on his Instagram story, I don't know if you guys saw, he was out partying or something like that.
Oh, the COVID protocol?
Yeah, the COVID protocol.
Okay.
But then the Nets, Harden had 23, 5, and 11. And some people are making a case for him to be an MVP. Sorry, I know everybody can be MVP.
Yeah, no.
And then Kyrie had 16. Really didn't do that much. But, he put up some points. And then Joe Harris.
Yeah.
Who my X factor for the Nets. He's a big time player.
Aaron's X factor right there.
6 threes and 21 points. And if the Nets want to make it far, they have to make sure he comes ready to play. Because I think his defense is really underrated. Not even his 3-point shot, but like the way he's able to just pull up. He's gonna be one of those guys who pulls up from anywhere. Because KD, Kyrie, and Harden, they all give him that confidence because their leadership. And the Nets also shot 36% from three-point land, and I think they're top 5 in 3 points attempted, I believe, and made. So, and then the Lakers just shot, I believe it was like 30 to 35%, somewhere around there.
And they were 2 off from the record of having 3 games in a row. We have 20 plus threes.
The Nets?
So, the Nets were 2 threes away from making that record.
Yeah, I mean, the only way you stop this team is just you hope at least one of the 3 have an off night. But then again, there's Joe Harris.
Yeah, one thing I'll say, like, I think it was exciting to watch this game, even though, like, the score doesn't depict, like, a close game. I think because, you know, like, nobody's saying, like, a finals matchup, right? Like, for all we know, like, you know, like a Blake Griffin buyout. A Blake Griffin could be on this team. Andre Drummond. I mean, like they could be on this team, right? So you don't know, but I definitely think, you know, if this is, you know, in a series, like, you know, it's going to 7. Like,
it's gonna be entertaining.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't even think both teams have hit their potential yet.
Exactly.
I don't think they have.
Yeah.
Really?
It was that, and also the jerseys are really nice too.
I like
the Lakers jerseys are really nice. Yeah.
I just hope they change the court, to be honest.
I was literally about to say that. I don't like how it's still the Lakers' original court, but their throwback jerseys.
It just doesn't fit.
Yeah. But no, like well, one thing that I saw during the game was that the Okay, I'm gonna say this before the season when free agency hit, a lot of Lakers fans were excited about Marc Gasol, and me as a Celtics fan, I saw Marc Gasol play against us with the Raptors. He did not look good at all. Like, I didn't really see like what the hype was around him. Like, I think it was they filled a need, but he wasn't like that player that Dwight Howard was last year. You know, so the Lakers were kind of forced to play small ball last night. That's something you don't want to do against this like Nets team. You have a bunch of speedy one-on-one players with Harden, Durant, Kyrie.
Yeah.
And how Little Man was saying that Joe Harris, he had 21 points last night, right? Had, what, 6 threes?
Yeah, 6 threes.
And he had, I think it was 3 threes in like a minute and like 90 seconds or something like that. So he just like that, pretty much from that point on, it set the tone for the rest of the game because they got a big lead. The Lakers would make little pushes, but it wouldn't it wouldn't bend.
You just get silenced by the 3. Yeah.
The 3-pointers were 18-8. Lakers couldn't really make threes, and for this season and in the bubble, they weren't really that 3-point shooting team. Yeah. Like, they can make a 3 when you need it, but I'm saying, like, to compete with other teams in 3-pointers, it's hard for them to do that. If this Nets team could defend in the middle of the pack, they don't have to be a great defensive team.
Yeah.
If they could just defend in the middle of the pack, last night I saw them have more effort on defense. I wouldn't say they were shutting down because I think the Lakers saw an off game on offense, but they looked like they were trying at least. Like, before, like, they showed Kyrie would be standing around, just somebody would be cutting. Like, somebody's always standing around. Last night, I saw in spurts that they were having some effort on the defensive side of the ball. And a lot of people are making a big deal about Kyrie having a career year. He's averaging the most points he's ever averaged in a season. Durant coming off an Achilles injury. But I think something that, like, the player that's most impressive with this Nets team is James Harden. Simply because he came, obviously, from Houston this year. And he was in that, under the impression that he was a toxic player, that he couldn't lead a team. He was just acting like a brat, going to strip clubs and all that stuff.
Like, he was the problem.
And he comes here and his attitude's completely changed.
Yeah.
He took a step back. As I said, and Kyrie also said this, that Kyrie needs to be the shooting guard and he's going to be the point guard.
Yeah.
Harden's going to be the point guard. So so I think he's the most impressive player on this team right now because he changed his role. And then he took a backseat to scoring and just started facilitating and rebounding the ball. Yeah. And on Tuesday night, they played the Suns. They were down by 24 points. And this team just shot threes. The Suns kept on getting 2s. But eventually as a team, when you just keep on getting 2s, getting layups, and not hitting the 3 ball, and the Nets are just hitting 3s on every trip down on offense, it's going to lead to a comeback. So, yeah, then Harden led that comeback. Harden had a big game on Tuesday.
He hit the game winner, right?
Yeah, the game.
KD and Kyrie were out that game.
Yeah, they were both out. So I think with this team, I think Harden's the most impressive player on that team.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And one more question before we conclude is, Little Man, how are you gonna assess the Lakers without AD for the next month?
I don't even know how I'm gonna deal with it. I mean, the best thing they could do last year, they were good. They were good at adapting for small ball, like we saw them in the finals, and then even with sometimes even the Blazers when they did it, like when they took out both the centers. And they adapted to that well, but this is a whole different roster. they lost, I believe, like 4 or 5 players from last year, and they got back like 5 new guys, and it's like you have to implement them a whole different way.
Yeah.
But the one person I think that could be their X factor, their Aaron's X factor again, is Kuzma or Trez. Trez has to play exactly how he did last year for the Clippers. He has to be the spark off the bench, 6th man of the year, and Kuzma just has to play lights out. He has to find his role, and this is a perfect time within these 4 weeks.
Yeah, and you see he's hitting his stride. He's playing a lot better on the offensive side. So,
and I think he's averaging he's top 3 in like most offensive rebounds this year too.
Really?
So like he's showing a lot of hustle.
Yeah,
which is what he didn't show last year because he thought he didn't have to do much because AD was there.
Yeah.
But now since AD's gone, he's taking on the
everyone's got
spot.
those shoes. So just hope AD's okay. I hope he comes back in time for playoff time. Like, obviously he's going to be back on the court, but I wanted to see him hit his full stride because he's also been having a down year this year.
You don't want him to come back like too early.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, like he just re-injures it or he's not the same player. Like I mean, like I feel like this team can afford. Like they can afford to wait off on AD till he's healthy.
Yeah, especially during that time they're gonna have to buy out and trade stuff like that. So I just hope they either pick up on Blake or Drummond because I feel like that's just a need they have.
And like also like let's not forget like LeBron like at any moment like when they play the Nuggets like LeBron like was like all cover him like the entire game. I mean like he could flip the switch. I mean he just chooses not to in certain games. Like yesterday, he was out towards the end of the game because he knew they weren't going to win the game.
There's some times where Lakers fans complain that LeBron just takes a back seat and it leads to the other team going on a run. So, but I mean, I feel like the Lakers are going to be fine. They just got to sustain this injury to AD.
They have to stay within the top 4 while he's out.
Yeah, I mean, because we expect this Laker team to beat teams below 500 and even like some of the more competitive teams. But I think where it really comes down to without AD is when you face the Jazz, when you face the Clippers, when you face so
they face the Jazz in a week, I think.
Yeah, in a few days. So So is that it for you guys? You guys on everything?
Yeah.
Anything else to say?
Just like and subscribe. Tell us your thoughts on the Lakers and the Nets. I mean,
let us know who you think got snubbed out of an All-Star start. You mean if you're a Celtics fan, you mean like Andrew Talavera. You mean just go and let us know down in the comments.
Yeah.
Anything else, guys?
No, thank you guys.
Yeah. Like and subscribe, like Willie said, guys.